together to share some information to everybody. So, with that being said, uh, unknown opinion. Yes, I appreciate that title. I think it's going to come out all this time. DEI, LGBTQ have been using their access to people, personal information, take money out of people's paychecks and credit cards, and that's why they hate Trump. You know what? If we start off with that, whoo, Lord, there's gonna be a whole lot of people screaming right about now. We're gonna turn the world inside out.
Uh-oh.
I gotta say like this. That opinion right there, but I person unknown opinion. Listen, I want you to like, follow, subscribe to our channels. All you gotta do is click on the name. It's gonna say follow. That's all we're gonna appreciate. Here's what's gonna happen. With that statement right there, I have to piggyback off that statement because there's one thing I couldn't understand, and hopefully, Ron, Leah, you guys can actually explain this to me. Okay, why is it that Target actually had children's clothing with rainbows and all this other stuff related to LGBTQ on children's clothing? Please explain that to me.
I can't explain it to you. To pander. That's the only hey Cindy, the only explanation I could possibly come up with is to pander, because I mean, I don't know, maybe because more of a rich white audience shops at Target, right? That could be why. No good reason. No good reason.
Okay.
Because we proved shortly before with Bud Light that the silent minority will boycott the hell out of you. And then where do we end up, right?
Right. You're right about that. I couldn't understand it. Now, here's another funny one. Why is Target called Target instead of Target?
I know that's right.
That comes back to college, right?
It's some different something a little
Justin?
different.
How you
Maybe.
doing? God bless
I don't know.
you. Hey, you know what?
Justin, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time.
You know,
Hi, Justin.
y'all know that I'm a consumer. Like I will consume information, and I usually come up with my own perspective of different things. Doesn't mean I'm always right. Doesn't mean I'm always wrong. Like here's the thing with as it relates to the subject of why did Target do that? And my thing is this: is that what people fail to realize in a lot of this is that this is a strategy that people don't understand what people do. Here's my point to that. They will take something small and promote it like it's something bigger than what it really is, and make the assumption that people are actually embracing this, when in reality, it's not real. And just like what Leah said, the silent majority is not out here trying to make a statement, get everybody's attention, do all of this and do all of that. What they do is they take these small incidents, and I always use daycare as somewhat of an example.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that these things don't happen or these people don't exist. Like, all right, when you look at daycare, somebody said, why is daycare so expensive? And I said, the reason why daycare is so expensive because a long time ago, there was no such thing as daycare. You had community people that watched your kids. I said, but somebody took an incident where someone unfortunately touched someone's kid. They took that situation and kept blowing those type of moments up bigger. Not saying that they're right. We know it's wrong. But they made it big enough to get the government to implement a plan to say, we're going to protect you from this. So now we're going to force daycare centers to hire more people, that you can't have this many people. You got to have this many people working for your daycare. And if you have this many kids. All right. So that put the cost of the daycare up higher because now they got to hire more people.
Yeah.
Now, and then the government turns around and says, oh, we'll subsidize the daycare. Meanwhile, all of their people that they know are getting more money. You see how this game works. So they'll take something like small, and they'll get these companies, people to buy into this as if it's a big moment. Target fell for the okie doke. Basically, what I call the okie doke. They made it look like this was a big thing. Target bought into it. The silent majority that Leah was talking about came out and said, same thing with Bud Light. And then what happens is now it costs you all of this money because you didn't read the room.
Mm-hmm.
You did not realize that the vast majority of people might not never say this, but they all think it. We ain't with that. They might not say it, but they'll say we're not with that. So Target thought that everybody was with this. This is a popular thing. Everybody's in there. And I'm not saying 100%, but they didn't read. Target did not read the room of the vast majority of people, if you talk to people individually wise and give them a comfortable conversation, you're gonna find out that the vast majority of people are not with that type of stuff. Those people are very, very, very small. But in order to look big, you know, it's like a cat. When a big dog comes up to a cat, what do? He fluffs up. But in reality, and that's just what they're using the same strategy to try to pull off this stuff. And if you're not a sensible person, very sensible person, you're not going to catch it. And this is why Target fell for it. A lot of these places fell for it. But here's the thing. Remember, y'all know, y'all been on my live many times, and I say the stock market is my number one educator. I say this for a reason. Because what people did not pay attention to before it started hitting the stores, the stock market was being forced to implement these DEI hire programs. Wall Street and stuff was being forced to implement this stuff. So now, in order for these companies to stay on Wall Street and meet these criteria, they had to follow this. No one knew that. Right. Wall Street these companies had to follow this because they were being forced, because they were changing the rules of these DEI hire programs. So now these companies like Target and them ordered them to name on the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones and stuff like that. They had to follow suit with this. And then what ended up happening is then they found out, you know how they say up around and found out that the vast majority of people were not with them. And instead of them backtrack, now they had to backtrack. But look at the money that a lot of these companies lost because of it. Bad idea.
And that's the key point that you said. How many people lost money? How many companies lost money? That is where it really gets interesting, because I remember as a kid growing up, yes, I'm gonna put my age out there. When I used to watch Sesame Street, it was geared around children. And PBS and NPR was based around teaching children how to become successful. Not concerned about the financial aspect, because they were getting donations from those that were watching the program. I recently found out that over the course of the years, unfortunately, now it's the complete opposite, right? The letters of the alphabet took over PBS and NPR. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how is it possible that a male adult can be on PBS dressed as a woman with makeup and everything, talking about how to perform a specific way, and yet they found that okay to show to a child. I don't know. I don't know. And the reason why I mentioned that is because it goes back to that DEI thing. Because I keep hearing about diversity. What was it? The
equity and inclusion.
Yes.
You know,
I'm part of inclusion is the
part in the chat, right?
It's ridiculous. I don't understand now. Once somebody prior, thank you for joining us, Chris. I see you. Wall Street like a bully. I see you. I don't understand it, because when I hear equity, I'm thinking, okay, equity means it's just something that you got to work for, get harder at, make it better for yourself in order to be self-sustained.
Like if you pay your mortgage every day, you earn some equity in the property.
Equity into your home. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So how
it's not something that you like. It's something you give. It's not something that's given to you. That's what always has made me crazy about equity of DEI, is because I feel like people who use that word don't really understand it, because it's not something you are given as a person. It's something you put into something immaterial that is supposed to build its value. You know, that's always driven me kind of crazy.
So why is it that we older folks, I'm gonna say we older folks, because we of age, let's keep it real, okay? Why is it that the generation that come up behind us, Ron, don't swing nowhere. You got them grays. I see them grays over there, brother. That ain't no turn. How is it that no one could understand what we're talking about, or the majority of the people don't understand what we're talking about, or even yet, how does the majority of the younger generation that's younger than us fight for something that they have no clue of what it actually entails? What is this? What is it?
That's a great question.
How is it that a person that has no education, has no experience, can be an assistant manager in a multi-billion company making the same money as another one?
Just because they're black or another person of color or gay.
Right.
Absolutely. Better yet, Leah, I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said. Gay, right? If I'm working with a gay person, which I have in the past, I have nothing wrong with it. Okay, your choice of how you live is how you live. My sister was a butch. Okay, all her life. And here's the thing, I got no problem with it. But the minute you turn around and tell me I gotta accept it because that's who you are, and you forcing it on me, now we got a problem, right? So why is it that in the workforce? Hold on now, I gotta ask this question to the panel. How is it that in the workforce, as a business owner you was at one time, Ron, and Leah, I believe you're a business owner now presently. How is it that we, business owners, are supposed to accept someone that is part of a particular group of letters and says they don't want to work, but we got to pay them $30 an hour? Make sense of that.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I make everything.
But here's the real thing. Let's look at it this way. All right. All of us have what we call sexual behavior, right? Can we agree to that? All right. So is any of us given benefits because of our sexual behavior?
No.
Not I.
You get what I'm going at, right? So how else do you determine if you are that type of person other than your sexual behavior?
I mean, small things like mannerisms, but that's the major one.
So what you're saying is I'm supposed to hire you because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You classify as them.
Right. Because you
I'm supposed to hire you because you classify as them.
Because you classify that because you are attracted to the same sex, right?
Yes. If you hire them, yeah.
Other than the fact that you like the same sex.
Yeah.
So why should I hire you because of your sexual behavior?
I totally agree with you. I couldn't.
Right. You understand my point. So this is why it doesn't. It's almost you actually doing that very opposite of what the law says. The law says you should not discriminate because of. But you're telling me I got to hire you because of.
Right.
Yeah. And I can't get rid of you. Right. So that's why the Trump administration performance based. That fits everybody.
And in practice,
has nothing to do with your none of the other stuff that matters. What that does, it takes all that out of the equation. Merit based, performance based. That means if you black and you good, if you white, you good, if you Chinese, you good, whatever race you come from, whatever color you look like, whatever. It doesn't really matter. If you can outperform, if you have more knowledge and more education, outperform whatever, those should be the criteria of rather you hire. And even if you do hire, and if all of a sudden you find out down the road that they're not what they said they were, then you get rid of them. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the equity comes in.
I see that. That's going to be first of all, that's a red flag for any company. And whether people like this or not, it's a red flag for any company. And if they see that, they're going to say, you know what, I'd rather bypass it and then instead of hiring it, because at that point, it's going to turn into a problem.
Exactly. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen, or they're going to go to HR, something like that.
And Leah, you're absolutely right, because I can tell you as an HR assistant that I was at one time, that's where the red flag comes in with dealing with that sensitive subject, because as much money as it took to hire a person, it takes 2 to 3 times to get rid of that person. So a lot of companies don't want to go through all that nonsense about trying to get rid of that person and risk the chance of having some type of lawsuit down the line. Because again, when you look at it, that person is really looking to take advantage because they're part of the alphabet. They're looking to get paid 3 times over. And that's where somewhere along the line, the line has to be stopped. Okay, it really does. Yeah. Because regardless of your race, creed, color, sexual orientation, whatever it is, if you can't do the job, you should not be getting hired, period. You shouldn't make the same amount of money as someone who's been in the job for 15 years. You shouldn't walk in the door making the same amount of money they did. You didn't put in the equity. So why should you get the equity? I don't understand it. I'll be damned if somebody did that to me. I don't understand it.
It fosters a workplace hostile because the employees are going to feel some type of way. Exactly what you just said. People come in who don't have a day of real life experience in this job, and just because they're black or gay or whatever the case may be, in some form of minority where they could get, positive DEI treatment, here they come, and these senior employees feel super resentful and they feel shafted because they're like, here, I've been here for a decade. So then that makes a super hostile work environment for everybody.
That's right. And I'm glad you said that, because here's the funny thing that you just mentioned. It makes a hostile environment for that seasoned employee. That seasoned employee now feels hostile, which can actually file a claim against the company and sit back and get all the money they want now. And the company's got to sit back and say, well, you know what? You're right. Now it comes back to the company. If the company turns around and says the opposite, give me 30 seconds.
Sure. And my thing is, in practice, DEI hires, DEI in general, it really fosters, it's still discrimination. It's just opposite discrimination, right? Or like reverse racism, quote unquote. It's like, instead of qualified white people getting into a university or getting a job, they can't because they're white and they're not gay or black, or Lord forbid gay and black. They're for sure going to get the job. I say that jokingly, but in a lot of cases could be the case, and it kind of turns it around where now, if you're not in these minority groups, you're being discriminated against because they want to prop up other people because of all these supposed injustices in the world. They want to kind of even that out, which is another question I have, since I'm the DEI hire of our group. What do you think about institutionalized racism? Is it a thing in 2025? Our Lord, the year 2025.
Can you repeat the question just a little louder?
Yes. What do you think about institutionalized racism? Is it still a thing?
Why you gotta ask the black people? No, I'm joking.
Out of here. I'm white. I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Remember?
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. All right. I would never be the one to say it does not exist, but I think what people is missing is that, all right, so on a small scale, you're going to have to always deal with some level of racism in America because it does exist. Is it does it exist on that large scale that says, oh, America is racist? No, I know 100% that that's not the case. Is there some small element to that that is racist in America that exists? Yes, it does. But here's my point, and I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can. All right, so I don't personally believe America is a racist country. This is just me personally as a whole, and I'm explaining to you why it's almost crazy to even say that. Here's my point.
Okay.
We had a black president.
So-called.
Right? You understand what I'm saying? So-called. I get what you're saying, Jay, but we're not even going to get into technicalities. I'm in technical part. But you understand?
Okay. Yeah.
In order for us to have a black president, you had to have had the vast majority of the white, Hispanic, and other populations to vote for that person in order for them to win office. Right?
Right.
All right. So that means that there's a vast majority of people in America that accept the fact that he was a black person.
Right.
Am I right about that?
So far, so good. Yeah.
That means that a lot of the voters, and there's probably a lot of people today that still would vote for him. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. It was a black man with a black wife with black children. Now, I'm not going to get into the technical parts, because I know where y'all going with this, but my point is that it's hard to argue that America today is a racist country, because there's so many other races that are there's so many people other than just one race that are doing okay. Are they doing better? No, we know that. Financially wise, living style wise, no. But it has nothing to do with the way that the media and the world try to spin it. You get what I'm saying? Don't have nothing to do with that. Like, there are some incidents where I have experienced racism. I've been called the N-word by a group of white guys riding across my neighborhood, even in Philadelphia, which you would think that it wouldn't exist, but it actually did. But on the work now, but I'm gonna give you an example of me being at work. Now, a job I used to have, right? I'm a person that's very timely. I want to be on time, and my thing, my motto has always been, I'm gonna be there before time. I don't think that personally, but you understand my point. I'm always on time, and I do everything I can do never to have to call out from work. I go every day and I try to be on time. A job that I used to have, I was there for 5 years, right? After about being there for about a year, almost the second year, a promotion came up, right? Now, I didn't put in for the promotion because I wasn't interested in the promotion. Now, I have 5 people that went to my boss because they wanted me to be promoted. I did not know this. They wanted me to get the position. Now, out of those 5 people, all 5 of those people were white men. Every last one of them were white men. My boss was a white man. He told them, he said, well, he did not apply for the position, right? And so he was like, I can't give him something if he did not apply for it. So they ended up giving the position to someone else, right? So it was actually another black guy that they gave a position to who was a young guy. These guys did not know that I went to my boss and said, I think you should give the job to him, even though he was younger. I felt as though he was qualified to actually do the job. Basically, what I was trying to do was uplift him, to try to give him an opportunity to actually take advantage of something that was there. Even though there was a small part of me that knew that he was somewhat immature, but I actually still wanted to see him because I think that I was looking at the 90% of him that was qualified as opposed to paying the 10% of him that was immature. Okay. Now, afterward, he got the job and he did extremely well. He did better than I even thought. But when it happened, the guys that was upset about it, they was like, well, we wanted you. I said, listen. And I explained to them, I said, first, they said, you come to work, you do this. You know this job better than just about everybody here. And these guys have been on this job for 20 plus years. Every last one of the ones that was on the job was there for over 20 years. And it was like, you work, you do the job, you do it well. You always a team player. When we straggle, no one has to come get you. You come by there, you see the situation, you jump in, you help us catch up. They already seen my work performance, my attitude, my behavior, my leadership stuff, and all of that stuff was factors. These guys wanted me to be their boss. They've been there longer than I have. But my job, and I said to them, I said, listen, I'm like that because I respect y'all and I don't want to see none of us overwork. I'm younger than y'all at the time. If it's easier for me to get it done and get it out the way, that's it. I said, but I think that this guy deserved the job. And I said, I think I'm not going to say he's more qualified than I am, but I felt as though it was an opportunity for him to progress as an individual because he had all of the other attributes that I think that he was better at. He would have been just as good at it as I was. He did well. He did very well. But my point is, he didn't get the job because he was black.
Right.
There was a factor in there of was recommended, but my recommendation mattered because of my performance. My boss took that in consideration and he said it. He said, I'm doing it because of you. Not just because of his performance. He said, he's a very good worker. And I think that he said, but you pointed out some things that I did not see. At the end of the day, he actually did well. My point is, he did so well that when he left the job, he took everything. I said, listen, this is not a future for you. I want you to take all the knowledge that you got from here, take it somewhere else, and I want you to do well somewhere else because I know this is not for you. He went on to do well somewhere else. He went back to school, progressed, and got his degree in computer science. Philadelphia wrote an article on him on how well he was doing. And this is the point of he did it on what he took his mind out of his skin color, put all of that into his abilities. He was coached by an older generation and he started doing well. And it had nothing to do with his skin color. No one would ever be able to tell him that he's oppressed because of his skin color anymore. Now, the reason why I'm saying it that way is because for the people that keep on saying that you are oppressed, if they're not encouraging you in a way to overcome, if they think you are impressed or oppressed, if they're not teaching you how to overcome the level of oppression, you're going to remain there. Now, I can say from personally wise, if you look at all of the people that they keep saying that are oppressed, are all of the people that by and large will vote for the Democratic Party. No
Isn't that
one pays
weird?
the common denominator of why they want that and why that's so important. I'm not going to get into that right now because I'm gonna shut down and let you guys jump in. But we'll get into that at maybe later in the video. I don't know. But I'm just pointing out the common denominator. That's it. I'm done.
Agreed.
All right, Leah. Leah, I'm gonna turn the table over to you.
I just want to say, because the question was for the blacks in the room, I'm not that. But I will tell you, I think that's really, really important for especially our young black men and women, because I feel like even other people of color communities, POC communities, family, especially like I'm thinking of my Hispanic friends, like family is a really big deal to them, right? Family, my Chinese friends, my South Korea friends, like all of them have, like everyone that I know that are of these other minority communities, they have a huge focus on family, right? Whereas I feel like we all know the breakup of the nuclear home of the black family is one of the biggest problems facing black men and women, in my personal opinion, not being one, because they came and tried to make the welfare system daddy and put daddy away or out of the home and incentivize that, and therefore they want black people to believe that they're down. And I think the only people that are going to be able to speak to young black men and women are older black men and women, right? Because you can hear 100 Indian or white or I don't know, anybody else, Mexican American, pick any other minority or a majority, whatever. It's not going to matter because it's not somebody that you can personally identify with, that you can say, this person looks like me. Maybe they have a similar past to me. Maybe they came from the same place that I do. And I feel like too many even older black men and women buy into this victimhood mentality that they're not trying to lift people up from that place where they might actually be, even if they help to put themselves there. Does that make sense?
No, you honestly speaking, Leah, you actually piggyback without me finishing out what I was actually talking about. What you're saying is really on the thing. And when you said that the breaking up of the nuclear family, again, when I said the common denominator is the Democratic Party, and this is the reason why, and I know you kind of didn't go that far into it, but the common denominator is the Democratic Party, because if you look historically wise, they're the ones that have by far been the vast majority of the people that has been in control of these communities. I use Philadelphia as an example. We have had more Democratic mayors than Republicans by far. By far. Now, Philadelphia at one point was the murder capital of the country, right? At one year, we had over 500 murders. When I look at the city of Philadelphia and I look at the leadership, I can't blame no one but the leadership there. Now, even when you look at like the not the mayor, but you look at like the city councils and stuff like that, they're all the vast majority of them are Democrats. If you jump out of Philadelphia and you go into Chicago, and if you jump out of Chicago and you go to Los Angeles, if you jump out of Los Angeles and you go to Houston, Texas, and I'm jumping around like that because the common denominator for the black community is when they started implementing the welfare, what they did not realize is that if, let's say, you have a relationship between a male and a female, the female is going to say, okay, I don't need you. Because without you, I can get welfare. I can get housing. Now, my mother My mom told me that years ago, when she went to go apply for welfare, they told her she has to get rid of the man in order for
to
her
have the father in
to
the
get
home.
support. They didn't say, we'll help you as a family. They said,
Right.
you got to get rid of the man. Now, I don't know if they said that in every community. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Now, my mother said, well, I'm good. I don't want it. She didn't take it. For whatever reason, I don't know what she was thinking at the time. I don't even know if she was forward thinking it that way. She just said she didn't take it. She said, but my thing is this. If you're planning to help the family, why would you include that to say, why would you say get rid of the man if you're trying to help the family? To help the family is to say,
That's
okay,
not what they wanted.
right. Well, we know that. I mean, we clearly see what they really wanted was they wanted to remove the protection of the black family by removing the male. The other part of it, feminizing them, the male.
Yep.
Make them not look like they are the authority of the. My thing is, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine, and I'm gonna try to be real quick with this. I want you guys to jump back in, and I don't want to take up too much time. And I said to them, I said, the reason why I am so adamant about what I got behind me, the Second Amendment, gun control, is because I don't trust government. This is just me personally. I don't trust government. I don't want government participating in my life. And I remember when Ronald Reagan said the most terrifying words that you ever want to hear is that I'm from the government and I'm here to help. They're not here to help. They're here to hurt. Now, for all of the so-called help that the black community has gotten from so-called government, no one can tell me where it's been beneficial.
Right.
We are still demographically, financially, the lowest of the totem pole.
And meanwhile,
Now,
a lot of the fathers aren't in the homes. You're making up more of the crimes. There's more drug
don't get me
use.
wrong. We have to take ownership of that as a community. We can't blame government. We got to own it ourselves. We allow them to do it, but we also got to own it ourselves. So every male, this is where I say, and this is just my personal opinion, I think every male in the black community needs to get back into that role. And it's not about being back into the family. I'm saying being the leaders of our community. Take that out of the females, and this is me personally. It's like I know nobody else. Take the leadership role out of any female in there. I don't care what you say. We're the authoritative figures here. We're going to protect the community. We're going to protect it. We're going to bring a level of standard for us back in our community. Because we're going to put back the respect in the community that we need to have. We're going to protect our people. Not coming off as like we're going to be violent or anything of that nature. It's just that what happens is that I don't care what anybody says. In order to protect the community, you have to have male authoritative figures or masculinity there. Because if it's not there, people will take advantage of it. The reason why a lot of these other communities don't suffer these things because there is and listen, I tell people all the time, you can look at America. You think America is safe because nobody wants to mess with America. America is safe because the authority of what America put into to protect America is the reason why we're not under a lot of threat. It's the same thing in your community. If your community is not unified and then there is not a strong male presence, you are easily going to become a victim because there is no one's afraid of you because there is no a strong male presence in your community. It's just like a female walking down the street by herself at night in a bad neighborhood. You already setting yourself up to be a victim. Now, if you're walking with 5 strong men, you're not even thinking about something happening to you. They will never cross your mind. But if you're by yourself, you like this. Wow.
Yeah, you're right. And that's exactly it. Not just men. It's not just about men.
This part, but they don't realize that how essential the male figure is in every community.
Let me jump in there. Let me jump in there real well. I've been quite silent.
Yeah,
I gotta jump in there. Please. right before I jump in there, there's one thing that I did promise Chris was going to touch his question, and I would like for him to know that we are actually paying attention, and I don't want him to feel that we're
Yes,
just
we-
dismissing him.
I feel like
Yeah.
everybody is more sensitive in this culture. It's not just the gays. I feel like this is also another question was asked toward Ron. Why do blacks think it's America is still so racist? I think these things put together. I think that the left wants you to believe you're a victim, whether you're gay, whether you're black, any of that. They want you to believe we live in a racist country. They want you to believe we live in a country that hates gay people and everybody that's part of the Wi-Fi password community. And so they need you to believe that so that they can keep you as a minority. You are only a minority as long as you accept that your community is a minority. That's the big secret, right? Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
No, you good. Go ahead. You 100% on point.
I want to piggyback. Let me piggyback. Ron, you know what's my biggest pet peeve, right, Ron? What's my biggest pet peeve, Ron? Handouts, right? I despise people who always looking for a handout. Yet we see how the left continues allowing people to receive a handout. Right?
Yeah.
Now, here's something I want to put out there. Okay, we're gonna go back to what we said before, as far as men should be the leaders in the community. Men should be the ones who should be the patriarch. In other words, in layman's terms. Let's put it like that. And Leah, she touched the subject a moment ago as well, as far as Latin communities. They're very family oriented, right? Now, as a Latino myself, there's three things that you guys talked about that I can touch base with. Yes, family oriented, and yet they'll be the first ones to do you dirty, first and foremost. Secondly, as far as being leaders of the group, let's not forget that it's always been a woman, truly a woman, that was in charge of the village. The man was just the figure and the foreface. It was always a woman, because the woman knows about nurturing, the woman knows about protecting, the woman knows how to hunt, the woman knows exactly how to take care of the children, the woman knows how to take care of the man, and the woman is what brings the man into this earth. Okay, let's get that straight. Foremost, when you turn around, oh, Ron, what happened? Ron jumped out. Ron got scared.
No, not just.
Ron got scared.
Hey, just so y'all know, I'm sorry.
Ron got scared.
Listen, it wasn't me. Y'all know we having thunderstorms around here, so
Oh,
that's what's going on. It ain't got nothing to do with me. And Jay,
All right.
I know
I thought
Jay
you
was
got
blowing
scared.
monkeys and go up there.
I agree with Barbie.
Yeah, but
see her
So here's the
we
thing.
having thunderstorms and we got
Hold
weather
on,
problems
Ron.
around here,
Let me get 30 seconds. My sister was homosexual. She was a butch. Okay.
so. Okay.
We didn't have a male figure in my family. Even though I had a brother, I had a cousin that was a male cousin, and I had another male. They didn't teach me what I needed to learn. My sister taught me. Okay. And she was butch. So when we come to understand that, okay, we need a male figure, going back to the black communities, one of the biggest things that I found out, okay, and I agree with what Ron was saying, that the welfare system tells the parent or tells the woman, don't say nothing about the man. Let's just go ahead and do it with you by yourself, because they want to go hunt the man down for child support so they could get some additional funding back.
Right.
Now, with that being said, what I found out, because I actually held a different kind of forum inside a specific town inside New Jersey, let's put it like this, the largest state, and found that the women there preferred to not be involved with the man because they just wanted the public assistance.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you with that. Yeah, I know that.
So
for sure.
now we kind of have a conundrum, because now you're saying, okay, well, you're not doing nothing for the kid, but at the same time, I don't want you part of the kid's life because I'm getting government assistance. So let's make sense of it. How can we make the happy medium there?
right. Because by fostering these programs, you make the women not want to have anything to do with the men. That's the natural consequence, is that they want to be on their own to get the government teat, right? They want to be able to do that. And I think the only way to solve that, other than positive role models, is that we have to have an incentive structure that incentivizes and prioritizes family over those benefits. right? Whether it's
Right.
bigger tax breaks, whether it's,
Yes.
any type of way we can financially or like as a community come together to incentivize that family structure. I mean, I could think of several things, but any way to where we just prop up the entire family unit instead of just a woman.
Right.
Well, I
Exactly.
agree. I agree.
I agree with you 100%. I agree 100% that but that was my point of government out of the way, because
Yeah, the government's gonna
more
stay out the way. Absolutely.
right. The more communities work together, like none of us are perfect. None of us got all the answers to everything. None of us are going to function in this world and get everything right.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, like what Jay said, now me personally, I did have my dad, but I had a lot of strong male figures around me, and they were very instrumental in my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was acting up and one of my uncles see me acting up, he gonna kick my behind. He's not gonna tell my, my parents finding out is just a second behind whooping. That's it.
Right.
But
Right.
I never seen my mother or my father get mad at my uncle for chastising me.
It takes a
And that's
village.
what happens now.
They used to say, that's my kid, don't check him. Listen, my dad was different. He went up to the schools and he said, if my kid act up, kick his behind.
Mhm.
Right.
And now, but it's, again, what people fail to realize is that it takes a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
But as long as you keep the village divided, you keep the family divided, the village divided, nobody trusts each other because the government keep telling you that everybody's bad, everybody's out to hurt you, everybody's out
Except
to do this
the
to you,
government.
everybody's out to do that to you, everybody's out to do it. You can't trust nobody. So now everybody's trying to function in the world singular minded. Oh, it's about me, it's about me, it's about me. And what ends up happening, you no longer get the event, you never get a chance to take the advantage of what it means to have a village raising your child, watching
And
over
that's
your
part
child.
of the problem.
Yes,
That's part of the problem. Because in essence, that's why so many communities take advantage of so many of these programs. And then when you look at it, like for a fact, it's not even an example. For a fact of the matter, within the Latin communities, okay, ICE and immigration and U.S. Customs, they would literally take the father away from the wife and the kids right at the border and separate them for a reason. Okay, the same thing that
They
Leah
have
was
to be
talking
on
about.
government assistance.
They separate them at the border. Why are you separating the family? Because you know that's going to hurt them more. And it comes down to
Make
this:
them
the more I
dependent
hurt you,
on the
exactly. So it's actually happening everywhere, and any possibility that they can get away with it, they're going to do it, and it's unfortunate. And now they add all these programs in, and a lot of people they jump on these programs, believing that the program is going to benefit them, but in essence, the program does not benefit them. I'm still trying to figure out how is it that the benefit's benefiting. How is the program benefiting when you're actually taking money from somebody else? How is it possible that I take money from Ram and give it to Leah because Leah is much nicer? How does that make sense?
Right.
How does that make
Somebody's
sense?
still getting hurt. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, financially, someone's getting hurt. So how does it work? How does it work? How does didn't earn it, the DEI, be so successful with so many people believing that they could get this money from just anywhere? It's just going to fall out the sky. But somebody had to pay for it. Ron's company had to pay for it. Leah's taxes had to pay for it. My taxes, my past companies had to pay for it. We had to pay into those funding. Yep. How does it make sense that you, because you call yourself black or you call yourself gay or you call yourself them or you call themselves they, I don't care whatever terminology you want to use it. My money should not go to you just because. You got to earn it. Isn't that what it's all about?
Right.
If you earn it, then we give it to you.
Now, here's the thing.
It doesn't make sense.
If you go look, Jay, when you get a chance, click the top to bottom hair and skincare where she said DEI never benefit black people, right? Now, when you look at, this is where you got to understand when Leah pointed out something about the racist part. And the reason why I'm going to this is because on the surface, everybody kept saying DEI, DEI, DEI. But when you look at the record, the DEI program has by far benefit more white women, right? Then when
Yes,
you look
it
at
has.
all the people that benefit, right? So here's where when Leah started talking about racism, this is the hidden racism that I was trying to point out earlier, is that the people that try to give you the virtual signal that they're being for you are the ones that are actually working against you. Because if you look at
Yep.
abortion, which Leah brings up a lot about abortion, the people that protest for abortion are always white women. Am I right, Leah? Am I right, Jay?
Yeah.
Right.
And
So,
look at the woman who started Planned
but
Parenthood,
the
Margaret
people,
Sanger.
right. But the customers, the abortion customers, the ones that go have an abortion, are by far majority of black people, right?
Black women.
Right. But so now when you look at the DEI program, all of the beneficiaries of the DEI program was white women, gay white men, LGBTQ, and all these other races. Black people was at the bottom of the list. But when you talk about DEI program, everybody was talking about it like it was supposed to be for who?
Black people.
Black people,
Well, people
right?
of color.
So this is the hidden racism, Leah. What you were saying, this is the hidden racism that I keep talking about, is that they virtually signaling for stuff. Meanwhile, they're the ones that are benefiting from the programs that they keep on saying that they're working for it for you, but in reality, you're not the one getting nothing of it.
That's
They're
all
not,
it is.
it's not
On the
none of
left.
y'all.
All it
It
is.
just looks like it is on the surface because people buy into the emotional aspect. Oh, they're here to help. When in reality, they're not helping nobody. They're hurting nobody. The only people that they're really helping is themselves. Because if you look at the salaries and the money that these people were making on the jobs that they got, you'd be like, oh my goodness. Most of these jobs that benefit from DEI programs are all in the six figures.
Because that's the
Yeah.
only ones that would matter, right?
Exactly. And
That's exactly what it is.
That's the slick stuff that they pull off. They make it look like, okay, they telling you about you a victim. They telling you, oh, you're oppressed. Oh, you need this. First of all, no offense to nobody, but for you to be a white person telling me that I'm oppressed,
Right.
and it is in itself racist. Because where do you get the nerve and the audacity to say to me where my position in this world? Now, if you cared anything for me at any level, you would give me some information that would be beneficial to me or open the door for me to get something in the future, not right now. Here's my point to that. When I talk to people personally, right? I talk to people the vast majority of the time about money, finance, right? Now, most of the people that are in my circle are African American. If I talk to you about how to buy property or how to invest or how about your money, regardless of what, even when I talk about my how I invest in stock, the first one of the things I was saying, Jay, you guys been on my live, I said it's broke man investing.
Yes.
If you broke, you can do what I'm doing.
Yes.
All right, so if you look at the pay
that.
scale, right? If you look at the pay scale of the African American community, right? Most of them make, according to the records that they show, we're at the bottom of the totem pole, right? So I'm telling you, if you're at the bottom of the totem pole, you can take a few dollars of that and you can find a way and invest a way to get out of that circumstances.
Now, hold on, Ron. Before let me jump in there with your statement.
Yeah.
Now, what? And I got to jump in this one because this one hits close to home. Okay, with what you just said. Here I come, an entrepreneur. I get three other companies to collab with me to give a black community the empowerment, the tools, the information, a slight form of funding for their own personal pockets,
right?
And yet they choose not to take on it. What does that mean?
The value system is off. Your value system is off. What you value is where you're gonna put your time and effort into. That's and it doesn't matter what skin color you are, and this is across the board. What you value is what you're gonna put your time and effort into. You get what I'm saying?
Doesn't
And
that come back to-
I try to use it.
That comes back to the DEI.
I put it into the simplest form as this. If I want to grow oranges, I'm going to have to go get me some orange seeds. I'm going to have to plant them orange seeds. I'm going to have to put time and effort into maintaining those oranges. If I do it right, I'm going to end up with more oranges than I can eat. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right, so if you take that same mindset and put it into bettering your life financially.
Right.
Every day I get up, I'm going to consciously make a decision to find a way to financially better my life. Meaning that I'm putting my time, my effort, and my value system into something to better my life. What do you think I'm going to get out of that?
You're going to be
better your life.
self-sustained. Exactly. You're going to be self-sustained.
You're going to get something sustainable, right?
Yes.
If you walk past opportunity every single day, it's nobody's fault but your own.
And yet, that is what's happening amongst, and I got to say it this way. Because I specifically experienced it. Not saying it's a fact, but this is what I experienced in one particular city. If the Black community in this specific city chose not to become self-sufficient, that gives that stigma or that stereotype that they're worthless.
Right. And it's not true.
And I understand, like Dr. Bottom said, it's because they've already broken. They feel that they're not going to be successful. But then why continue believing that you're unsuccessful when someone is showing you how to become successful? That's the part I don't understand.
Now, Jay, to your point, and here's where Leah, and the part that a lot of people don't see publicly wise. Most of what we're talking about is a factor, but there's another part of it that no one pays attention to. The Black community have a lot of money. That's the part no one pays attention to. We have a lot of money.
Oprah.
We have, if you look at the amount of money that funnels through the Black community, there's probably about $2 to $3 trillion a year that is spent specifically through the Black community. So I'm telling you, we have the money. But the problem is that, again,
what do you spend it on?
What are you spending it on?
And that's why that's up there.
If you're spending all you have every single time you get it on whatever,
shoes and hair and designer outfits. Call me racist if you want. I have a lot of Black friends. I see what they spend their money on.
Now, here's the thing, please. Here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. Now, this is how idiotic that is. These very same people are worried about China being able to sell them this stuff for cheap, right?
Right.
They never talk about the fact that China refused to let the Black community take part in that industry for them to be able to make money off of themselves because they want to control it. Now, if I knew that Black people buy hair and buy this and stuff, which I don't see nothing wrong with if you spend your money on it, I think you spend way too much. But you're complaining about China, but China won't even let you in on that industry. But you're their largest customer.
Because they prefer you as a consumer, not as a partner.
But you rather protest the administration for tariffs, but you will not stop spending money spending your money to a country who refuse to let you partake in that lucrative business.
It all goes back to the culture of the Black community, right? Everything from the music.
Me personally, I will find a way to get that material. If y'all want to keep buying it, if I'm a Black person, I'll be like, I need to find me a warehouse where I can get this material. I'm going to start making these wigs, hair care product, skincare product, just like top to bottom, skincare products, all of this stuff myself. Why? I'm going to cut China right out there and say, you know what, y'all going to buy it anyway. I need to get it. Yeah, and this is the point. My thing is, I know we're talking about problems, but understand me, I am a solution person too. It's one thing for us to address the issue. It's another thing for what's the solution. You get what I'm saying?
You're right.
So we can talk about the problem all day long.
That's what we need.
The solution to that problem is.
So how do we come up with solutions? How do the three of us right now,
right?
How do we come up with solution?
Which solution? You never even answered my question, Jay, on whether or not you think America is systemically racist.
Oh, I believe it's systematically racist. Absolutely. Because here's the funny thing. I'm glad you said that. It is. Because here's the thing. I'm putting it like this. I'm going to read to you because in 1942, there was Balacera program. The Bracero program in 1942 was that the United States allowed over 5 million Mexicans, and they just said Mexicans because across the border they called it Mexico, but they forgot about all the other countries that were running behind Mexico, that all these people were coming through because they heard what? America's giving us some money, America needs farmers, America needs this, we're going up there to make the money and we're going to bring it back to our families. So since 1942, they've been allowing the Mexicans or the Latinos or the Hispanics, whichever way you want to call it, into the country. And then when they didn't need them no more, they kicked them out. Come on now. You don't kick out somebody who's doing a hard job.
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett is talking what she's talking. That's why that judge got locked up, because he had a whole bunch. He had that murder in his house. That's why his wife was actually using the guy to get cheap labor. Come on now, it's all over the news. We ain't saying nothing that's true. All right. So from a Latino side, I could say like this: America is racist, and this is why I appreciate what Trump is doing, because Trump is actually putting it out there that even as we were racist, I'm gonna make it neutral. I don't care where you are, as long as you follow the rules and you follow the guidelines. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race, creed. No, I don't care about that. You're going to follow the rules. The rules are going to be set in play, and this is what happens. You follow the rules, you stay. You follow the rules, you get the money. You follow the rules, you get the grants. That's equality to me. That's equality. Yeah, that's what I say Trump is where he needs to be, and I'm glad for it.
To make it clear,
before Trump, yes, America was racist, absolutely, 100%. That's just my point, because I still understand how is it. Hold on, I don't understand how is it that you can stand on the line for 3 hours, stand on the line for 3 hours to buy some stupid ass toy that's called Lumbee that's made in China, but your ass can't stand on the line to get a job that pays $30 an hour. I don't understand it. How the hell you got the nerve to turn around and say I ain't got no money, I'm broke, but you stand online and get a $22 damn toy from China? How are you gonna turn around and tell me you don't like the fact that Walmart is moving into another country because you ain't got a job or because you can't afford what you gotta afford? That's because the country is actually better outside than it is inside. Plain and simple. Because you want a fucking handout. My bad. I'm upset. Yeah, I'm upset. You want a handout. You want to continue having a handout. That's the bottom line. Anybody who complains about how the system is running is because they want a handout. Those people who are complaining about the stocks, they're upset because their stocks are dropping. Who told you to buy a stupid stock? Whose fault is that? That's your own fault because you bought the stupid stock. Because at the end of the day, you want to continue. But that's what it is. You complain about people coming and taking money. Come on now, let's make sense of it. My bad. But hopefully, Leah, all due respect, I hope that answers your question. I do believe before Trump,
I'm with you.
America is racist against all kinds of people.
Right.
Period.
Right. And that's the point
because
that I was making.
If you give to someone else more than you give to someone that's been there, it's a problem.
That's the point that I was making, Leah, is they do the racism to virtual signaling. They act like they're doing something that's meaningful, but when you look at it under the surface, it's not beneficial. So Jay is basically saying that it's the racist part, but it's not toward a specific group. It's more so financial.
Yep.
It's more so financial.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right. Right. So when you ask the question, do you think that America is racist? The point that we're trying to make is that not on this part that they try to point the racists like, oh, the country is racist that way. You got to pay attention to the virtual signaling to make it look like we're doing something virtuous. That's where the racists come in. Because just like if somebody said to me, oh, like when I was saying about the DEI hire stuff, on the surface, it looked like they're doing something for black people. But if you look at the outcome of it, it was beneficial to who? On the surface, abortion looked like it's supposed to be helping black people, right?
Yeah, that hurt the black community.
Right. But when you look at it under the surface, what did it do?
Help the black community.
Right. If you look at welfare on the top part, they say, oh, we're here to help. But under the surface, what did it do? It divided the family. So that's the right. That's the racist that we're talking about. It's not saying, oh, the country is just all dead out racist. No, it's saying when you look at it that way, you see that it has nothing to do with the skin color. It has everything to do with we want you to stay under the thumb. And if you white and you choose this thumb, that's your fault. If you black and you choose to be under this thumb, that's your fault. If you Hispanic and you choose to be under this thumb, that's your fault. There's another way. Go ahead.
Here's my question. Is that systematic racism, or is that selective and convenient racism?
Selective and
Yes,
convenient.
I would say selective, convenient. That's why I said it doesn't matter what your skin color is, because what happens is that what they're trying to do is, listen, in America, this is the part about America people don't understand, is that America is not interested so much into business-minded, entrepreneur-minded people. They're not interested in that because you don't fit the demographic of what America wants.
That's right.
America wants you to be a consumer.
That's right.
They want
getting handouts.
People to be consumers. So if I can make you into a consumer, you'll always be spending. Now, there's a small demographic of those people that will come out and want to be, well, I want the side of it that they're on. Now you got to find a way to fight your way through all of that stuff to try to financially get yourself on the opposite side of that. That's the hard part, because that is the part that's extremely complicated. That requires time, effort, dedication, and everything. And then, yes, we are a capitalism country. Now, here's the thing. The problem is when we see opportunity, we don't capitalize on it.
That's true.
Here's my point. And here's my point to that is, if I go into Walmart and go food shopping, right? Or let's say another store and I go food shopping. If I'm in there just spending money to make sure that we have something to eat and stuff like that.
I bet you, I'm so sorry. Let me just say for 2 seconds, I can almost guarantee Donald Plump is white. You are the fucking problem, Donald. You are the problem. You do not get to come on here and tell 2 black men who were telling their truth what the hell they should and should not be defending. Or if America is racist, to them, they're black. I think they fucking know what they're talking about. All y'all that want to virtue signal, like you want to protect the black folk, you are racist. It's a racism of soft expectations. Let the black men fucking talk and shut your mouth.
Right. Now, here's the thing, Leah, you're absolutely right that Donald is a racist. I know 100% that he's a racist because he made a comment on one of my videos that said that what did my black skin ever do to me as a white man? So he is definitely about as good, if he's about as racist as you get.
Yeah. Well, let's try this out like this. I'm gonna say it like this. Hold on. I invited Donald to come and join me on the live, but he chose not to. I don't understand why he was afraid to talk to this guy here, because all that was going to happen is I was going to see what he was all about. I need to see what he was. I just want to put a face with a name. That's all I want to do. But he was kind of afraid. I don't know why he was afraid. It might be because he's driving forward because he felt the need sitting forward in the backyard or something like that. I just don't know. But if that's the case, I'll be more than glad to come sit with him. We'll have a beer or two if he needs it. I'll bring the beer. He like to drink that Budweiser. That's exactly what he do. So, hey, Donald, if you want some Budweiser, I'm gonna come drink some Budweiser with you.
Donald is one of them. We got to keep those Negroes in line type of racists.
We'll have the Negroes voting for us for centuries. Remember?
Yes.
That's his party. Exactly. That's his party. Sorry.
I got a question for you.
Blows my mind.
It's all right. Look, we said we was gonna have some fun here. We said we was gonna have some fun. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have some fun at the same time. We're gonna try to teach people, have people understand our plight. Leah, I got a question for you. I just because of your skin complexion, just bear with me here. Just because of your skin complexion, do you feel the need, or do you feel or believe you get special privileges over someone of my complexion or Ron's complexion if we were women?
No.
Good.
As a felon, also, I feel the need to say that, who's had my ass whooped by COs and police officers. I can personally tell you, no, as someone who's been followed through stores looking a whole junkie back when I did drugs and they thought I was stealing shit. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I've never in my life thought to myself, like, oh, thank God I'm white, right? I like my skin color just fine. I feel like I probably would if I was any other color. I don't know. I haven't been there, right? I don't feel like it's afforded me any type of special privilege. I know Black people, Mexican people, Chinese people, like, no, we all grew up broke together in the same place. You know what I mean? Like we were all broke, struggling together. And we ate the same food, we shopped at the same stores, we dated the same people, and we grew up and we went on to do different shit, but like none of us were better or worse. And I feel like that on the whole is how Americans feel. It's not that we don't see color, because when you say shit like I don't see color, it means nothing. It takes away the fact that we all do see color. We're not fucking blind, right? We see color,
Right.
but it doesn't have to matter what we see. It doesn't have to mean anything. You can be different without being lesser. If that answers your question.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you hit the head of the nail just perfectly. Let me put it like that. And I think I thank you again for allowing us to hear the testimony of what you went through. Okay, and I can understand what you're saying, and I could understand the uncomfortableness that you went through. Okay, during that time, and I'm glad you actually overcame it, and or are overcoming it, because I don't know exactly where you at that point in your life with it.
Overcame.
Yeah, at this present time. Okay, good, great. I commend you for that. Okay, and that's the thing where when we first came up with this idea about the three of us coming on a forum and talking about it, I said this is going to be some real good stuff, because here we have a Caucasian woman who's light-skinned. We have a dark-skinned male who would be considered black in the eyes of the society. And then, of course, they see me. They're like, okay, which one is he? Which way is he going?
I still haven't figured that out.
and then, of course, when I really want to make things difficult, I come up with my funny stuff. It is because we are trying to understand what life is all about. Here in America, we got to try to teach you one thing or the other, and it seems to be a major situation. I don't understand why we have such a problem in America to try to teach the Americans how things are supposed to be done. It is difficult for me to understand it. It makes sense to me, please. I try every single day, and I come up with nothing. And this is the reason why people don't even understand where I'm from. Because I could come up with so many things, because I like to have people laugh. And as much as I like people laughing, this is...
Jay,
go ahead.
Click Donald's statement. The last one.
As a white man, racist MAGA people say things they would never say to those black two men. Two black men here.
Are you trying to say that you have been the victim of racism, Donald? I thought your party didn't believe there was a such thing as racism against white people.
Now, here's the crazy part. Now, see,
exactly.
This is where the ignorance kick in at, right? Now he says, as a white man, I don't know why he feels the need to point that out, but
because he ain't white, he orange.
Right. So my thing is this: he would say, now here's the thing. He said the MAGA people say things to me that I would never say to two black people. That he would never say to two black people, right? But he actually came on my channel and asked me, as a white man, what did my black skin ever do to me? He's telling me that I hate my black skin.
He wants to save you.
Right.
Maybe he wants to be a part.
He's white. He can help me. Well, help me with
exactly.
What? Help
the racism has stopped expectations.
He's doing the very virtually signaling that I keep talking about. Because if you was a real white man, you would have came on my channel and said, you know what? There's a black man that's on there that's trying to better not just his community, everybody's community. There's a black man on his channel. There's another black man on his channel that just having a conversation with a white woman whom we not even worrying about. Listen, we having a racial conversation and ain't none of us mad at each other. You can't get no more positive than that.
This is like a bar joke. A white lady walking in with a black man and a Latino man.
You know what I'm saying?
It's air. It's air up here. That's all, Donald.
I mean, not one of us pointed out the fact that it looks like an Oreo cookie right now.
and not the chocolate kind. We're talking about the vanilla wafer kind.
But here's the thing. My thing is this: is that you know what? The reason why I'm saying this is because the white privilege thing that you brought up, Jay, right? The white privilege thing that you brought up. a lot of times people don't realize they'll take something that started out as what they would call like what's the word that I'm looking for? You know how you had comedians and stuff, stereotypes. That's what I'm looking for. They would take something that is a stereotype. You know what I'm saying? Or there's something that they may think that's more common amongst a segment of group of people.
Sure.
And turn that into something that it isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing. If we're sitting here watching a comedy show, you're going to hear a whole lot of stereotypes come across. That stuff that you will see in a comedy show that's typical what you might see a white person do, or stuff that you may see typically that you would see black people do, or typical stuff that you would see Indian people do, or different across the way, right?
Like I can't drive.
Right. You get what I'm saying? Now, my thing is this, is that you can't, they'll try to make that stuff that seem like that's everybody. And it's not.
Right.
Now, my thing is this. Why did, all right, it's again, Donald in himself, again, how disrespectful he is. We already know what Donald is.
Yeah, we know. Donald is our viewer that
now
brings up.
So my question, since Donald asked me the question, now I'm gonna ask him the question. Donald, what did your white skin ever do to you?
Donald,
make him broke. Made him broke. Made him part of the welfare system.
Yes, and my thing is this: is that most black people work their behinds off, do as much as they can, just like white people, other races. No one points out, no one talks about the black people or any other race that's actually getting up doing the right thing every single day, because that don't get attention. That don't get attention. It don't bring drama. The part that everybody seems to always want to point out is every race and the negative stuff that comes out of every race. You get what I'm saying? And my point to that is that if we have to focus on, if there's an issue, and this is what I would love for us to do as a group and continue to do, is that not for us to just address the issue, but also amongst come up with solutions. What we think will be a solution to the problem. Because it's one thing for us to talk about the problem. It's another thing for us to have, maybe have some type of idea or solution that would actually overcome the problem. You get what I'm saying? We didn't look at none of the stuff that we would.
I get what you're saying. And here's the funny thing. Believe this or not. Right now, we're doing the solution.
Right.
The solution here is that we're exposing it. We're talking about it. We're enlightening people, because all the people who are coming in listening to us, they're getting enlightened. So we're planting that seed. So this is the beginning of the solution. What comes out of the solution is the next thing to see. Because again, Leah has a lot of information in her brain that I'm just willing for her to get out. But somehow, some way, we keep over talking her. and from a woman's point of view, is what I like most, because of course, even as Ron is a businessman, I'm a businessman, there's always a point of having a woman come in and tell us what is actually happening in society from her eyes. Because like we said before, the society needs a male leader, right? I turn around, I disagree because I believe like this. If the lions can have a female lion that does the hunting, does the killing, does the feeding and the watching over, and the male lion just sits there with his big old afro sticking up, doing nothing, sleeping all day long, creating babies, that kind of sounds familiar, don't it? I mean, come on, really, think about that for a moment.
You got to work.
I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying.
I think it's unity.
It sounds kind of
familiar. You know what, Jay? To that point,
the men,
it is unity. You're absolutely right. But here's to the point about the lion, right? Now, if you watch a lot of, because I watch a lot of stuff. If you watch the lion, now most of the time the lion don't get involved in the hunt because he's going to give out everybody's position because he has too much. He's too big and he has all that mane, right? But what makes the job easier is when the women are out, the female lions are out there fighting something that is very extremely large.
Yeah.
He look over and he say, "Oh, they struggling on this." When he get up and he go to work, their job get a whole lot easier because of his strength. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean he has to be. He don't have to get involved in all of the hunts, because he don't always have to participate. But when he see they overwhelmed as a real man, he say, "Oh, y'all kids gonna have to behave yourself for a minute because I got work to do." And he gonna get up and he gonna go to work. He gonna go in, make that kill, and say, "Okay, boom." And then what did the females do? Out of respect, they let him eat first.
Lord forbid.
Well,
Don't get me started on the 18th Amendment, y'all.
Now, wait. Now, here's the
I'm
thing.
gonna play devil's advocate on that one.
Hold up, Jay. Before you go, hold up again. Out of respect, they let him eat first. You know why they let him eat first? Because they make sure that he has to keep his strength up just in case they need him again. That's all that is. Just in case. Nurturing. We make sure he good. You get what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I guarantee you this. Any woman that has a man that they know is on point when they need him to be on point, they're going to always make sure he's eating well and make sure his strength is up.
Well, that's why I'm fat. Because my wife makes sure.
Can't get on the camera, baby.
She makes sure I'm fed well because when it comes time to protect, I'm going out there like a silverback. You
might not be in there cooking all of the food, right? But that, you know, that big box of that case of water might be too heavy for her to keep carrying. She gonna look at that. She gonna look. Okay, Daddy, you gotta get that water for me, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the man's job, right? He's a provider and the protector and the lifter of heavy things.
Of heavy things, right?
And the killer of spiders. Don't forget. But that's exactly the thing. We could go into that. Maybe we could have that whole discussion another time because I done had an argument with the Facebook Karens a couple of weeks ago about the 18th Amendment and should women have the right to vote? I'm like, well, you know, it wasn't the women who wanted the right to vote way back when. They didn't want anything to do with the right to vote. They were like, no, because why? Because they didn't want to get drafted and go fight a war. So as a woman that can't vote because of my record, I just gotta say, as long as I'm not getting drafted to fight a war, maybe we should look toward the solution of find a man that you can trust who shares your values, right? To start your family, who would vote the same way you vote.
God bless you. God bless you. Twins, God bless you.
You know? Oh, hey, fools, how are you?
I can say this, Leah. I would look into the policies of where you live at because I'm sure due to your past, it does not hinder you from voting. I would really look into that.
Wait.
Because in essence, I know of felons that are actually voting. You know
what, Leah?
Look into the policies. You'd be surprised.
First of all, hey Leah, just so you know, even if you can't, that's one thing that the Trump administration is fighting for, is for people that have felons.
Because he's a felon.
Yeah, for people that have felons, if they have
even better,
be able to get their right to vote and be able to right to keep and bear arms. Because what your right to vote should not be removed because if you pay your debt to society, whatever that may be,
which I did,
and you
jail time, probation,
once you did your part, that stuff should be restored until you find a way to lose it again. That's my
which I will never do.
I can tell you like this: society doesn't see it that way. It doesn't matter how many policies get into play. It doesn't matter who's actually in the forefront saying it shouldn't be done until the policies, which are actually governed by the Senate and the Congress, until those policies are changed, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Because I've been watching them things for many, many years, and it's a disgusting factor that a lot of people who have done their time, have or paid their debt to society, come out and get railroaded for the entire life.
Right. Wrong. Yeah. In my opinion, is wrong. Is flat out wrong. And my thing is this: is that and the reason why I say that is because I am a person that I'm very strong when it comes to the Second Amendment. But the one thing I try not to do is I look at it from a point of stop looking at it as self-protection. Because when they say self-protection, what ends up happening is they try to make it as an excuse to say, oh, it's for self-protection. No, the Second Amendment is against government tyranny. And I keep pointing out that point that is, so if it's against government tyranny, government should not have no say-so whether you can or not because it's against you.
Right.
So why
Right.
is it that the government, so Congress should not have no say so, the Supreme Court should not have no say so, the president should not have no say so, no member of government should not have any say so in your right to keep and bear arms because it's against you.
Right.
It's the same thing as your voting rights. It gives you, puts me in the position of power to decide who have the authority over my life for whatever time period you're there. It's not for you to decide. The Supreme Court should not be in that decision.
And
because
that's the
you
unfortunate
guys are
side
part
that
of
it
the
is.
government.
Right.
And
That's
that's the
why that
unfortunate
law
side that
is
it
written.
is.
That's why I say for people who don't understand, that's where it's supposed to be at. And it's the same thing with your right to vote. Once you paid your debt to society, everything should be 100% restored to you until you find a way to take it, to wipe it back out again.
Right.
That's where I'm at. And I won't take that to the bank with nobody, because at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes throughout our lives. And if God can forgive me for my mistakes, why would I let government have the authority to never forgive me?
Because society
but they turn
overruled.
around and let a rapist free who have raped more and more people than that. If you're willing to let a rapist free, you don't want to give somebody who's not a danger to nobody no more their right to vote, but you want to let a rapist out? Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you a story of what happened. I'll tell you a story of what happened at my court date. At some point, not today. Maybe we'll do a whole thing on my past, like a whole episode on my past. But I saw 2 child molesters walk out, and I had to serve 64 more days in jail for a violation of probation. That's what I was in jail for. Wow. What were you trying to say, Jay? I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. Because look, I'm at a loss for words because there is so much information trying to blurt out my mouth, and I don't want to disrespect either one of you. Okay.
Oh, you're good.
And you both are absolutely right, because here's the thing. I've worked with felons. Okay. I've worked side by side with felons. I've had the privilege of sitting down with not one, but 3 different commissioners from New York, trying to understand why the policies in law enforcement was hurting the actual, I want to say the inmate, not so much the convict, the inmate. Why did it hurt the inmate? Why was the inmate so looked looked down at and frowned upon because of their actual crime? Even now, still to this day, I know of a young man that's actually doing so much time for a first offense that normally a first offense doesn't even give the maximum time, and they give him a heartache to try to get him out. And yet I'm looking at people that have done crimes, like you said, Leah, child molesters, murderers. I don't understand how. Look. Please, somebody tell me this one. Somebody explain this to me. How is it possible that because I turned around and I say I took a life, I get charged with a lesser crime of manslaughter? Because I admitted to it? How's that right? How's it right that because I admitted to the crime, I get less time? How is it possible that I've seen it? I've seen the papers. I've seen the courtroom papers. I've seen the actual prosecutor's documents. People get charged with murder and they're out in 6 months. How is that possible?
It's all about the deal.
That's what it comes down to. And what is that? It's like I said many times before. Laws are created to hinder the law-abiding citizen, not the criminal. Because the criminal has the funding to keep himself or herself out of the system, versus the law-abiding citizen is struggling to keep alive and keep afloat, so they pick on that person so they continue that terrible lifestyle, because they always try to figure out why
it's a cycle, right?
Well, here's the thing, Jay.
It's a vicious cycle.
Here's the thing, Jay Leah. Y'all do understand something. There's an art to that they're doing. The reason why they're doing it is to keep you, like Leah said, in the system. Meaning that if I make it harder for you to put your life together, I can almost guarantee you're going to go commit crime again. If I make it harder for you to find another job, if I make it hard enough for you to overcome this stuff, so hard that you get to the point of desperation where you now saying, I have to compromise and I might have to go steal again because it's so hard for me, I can't overcome it.
Then you're under the thumb.
Exactly. It's under the thumb. And that's the part that we have to be mindful of who we vote for in office.
Now
Because
I'm gonna pick it
that's
back
why
up.
you always hear me say, when I hear them start talking about gun control, controlling this, controlling that, that my thing is this: what you're trying to do is make the people more powerless so you can control them more.
Amen.
That's how I feel about it.
And here's the part that I want to throw in there. On top of everything you guys are saying, and I'm gonna piggyback off of this. And this is a fact of the matter, and you guys can agree or disagree. Everybody watching and listening, y'all can agree, disagree. Yet this is what you guys fail to understand or may misunderstand.
Go ahead.
If the jail is privatized and they're getting funding from the government to operate that facility, they turn around and take those inmates that are in there and put them out in the streets to do free labor. Isn't that modern slavery?
That's exactly what modern day slavery.
Yeah.
Well, when when you're a convicted felon, they say you're a slave to the state.
Not throughout your life.
And then they take
no. Not because you are. No. I gotta disagree with you. I'm gonna disagree with you. No, you're not. You're not.
I didn't say you were. Listen, what they say, aren't you owned by the state?
Hell no. Absolutely not. You are not owned by the state.
I didn't say you was.
Ethically, morally, no. Like spiritually,
I'm not
no.
saying you are.
Physically, absolutely. You give up when you have to go on probation. You give up all of your rights, right? You have a Fourth Amendment right. Right. You give up all of your rights. You don't have a Fourth Amendment right. That is the point that I'm making.
You don't.
I'm gonna have to beat on the both of you for this one. Go ahead, come on.
The point that I'm making is that you gave up once you commit crime and then you are owned by the state. They tell you what you cannot do. Cannot do. You are a slave because they're gonna make you do whatever they want you to do. You're not gonna have no more freedom because you gave it up when you committed a crime, whatever it is.
Okay.
Am I right?
It's not so much in jail.
I'm gonna disagree with the both of you because now, you guys, both of you know right now, if y'all YouTube this, you see guys and girls in jail with cell phones. You see guys and girls with radios. You see guys and girls eating food from outside. You see guards bringing them stuff from outside. All the drugs can be found inside the jails. Sex is going on inside the jails. Crime is going on inside the jail. So what is the difference between being inside jail and being outside? You know what the difference is? A giant wall. Come on now.
Well, his thing, it's not supposed to be that way in jail.
That's
it's happening.
Those are the exceptions to the rule, right? That's not the way it's supposed to naturally be.
It's not supposed to be that way in jail.
What's the exception? Because the one who owns the jail is still making money. The guard is still making money in front of his face.
Maybe slave is the wrong word. Maybe slave is the wrong word. I just know you are a good way to say is you are property of the state because you have to sign off on a paper, right? When you go and you sign for whatever probation or parole you have, you give them your spit, your fingerprint, your hair, and you sign. At any point, they can come search your house, your car. They can come see where you are. You can make you pee in a cup or get a blood test. That's what we mean. It's like they control your freedoms. Maybe not your body, your actual physical body. But you give up your rights and they control your freedom.
Let me just jump in there. Okay, Leah. The same way you have a testimony, I'm going to give my testimony. I've been incarcerated. I've been driving for several years without a license. Okay, when I was a young boy. And I got put in the system. Okay, and the one thing I turned around and told everybody that I was there is, you're not going to make me a part of the system because you want it to be. It ain't going to happen. I'm here temporarily. This is a temporary setback because I got punished. So that's why I'm here. Okay. When I came out, yes, I was on probation. Yes. They turned around and told me the same thing. We have the right to come and search. I said, no, the hell you don't. Because where the line is drawn at is where I'm actually at. And if you really want to turn around and question me, let's look it up. Because if we look it up in black and white where the rights and the rules and the penal system goes, that's where you have to actually know. That's where the problem is at. That's why individuals that are incarcerated remain a number for their entire lives because they don't know how to read and they choose not to read and they choose not to follow what the laws were put in to hinder them. So the same way that it was supposed to hinder me, I found a way to fight back. And I was on probation for 5 years. At the third year, my probation officer turned to me and said, you know what, Mr. Garcia, I'm taking you off because you're wasting my time coming in here with nothing. I said, why? Because you're not even putting me back? because that's what they're looking for. They're looking to put you back. So they always look for a reason to put you back because that's how they make their money. So at the end of the day, you're really not a number. You're really not a state of the property because they don't have the right to do what they want. If you turn around and you show them exactly what they're fighting you on, that's how you win. That's how you overcome. Even when I was inside, Leah, you know what this is, okay? A trustee, right? 3 months of me being in there, I became a trustee. I didn't know nobody. And I became a trustee. Why? Because I knew what they were looking for. I knew what to say for them to actually keep me outside of the nonsense. I went to sleep when I wanted to sleep. Absolutely. If you play the game the right way, they play the game, then you got nothing to go. So I understand what you're saying. I have to disagree because I am an example of what it is to fight the system the way the system is created. So when we come into that situation like that, I get upset because even when I did come out, that's why I fought so hard with so many individuals that were incarcerated. I fought so hard because I told them and I sat there with them. And I showed them what needed to be done. I even got a guy a job. And I told the people at the employment agency, I said, he does something wrong, you call me first. Don't call the police, call me first. I don't want him to get violated. The day I went to go visit him, he was stealing. What do you think I did? I turned around and said, yo, you got to be stupid. He said, but Jay, you don't understand. I said, you're right, I don't understand because I told you they're going to feed you if you're hungry. They're going to give you food you need to. They're going to give you coffee to get home. They're making sure you got a roof over your head, but yet you feel the need to steal from them. Oh, but Jay, I prefer to take before somebody tells me no. So I'm going to tell you no. No, your ass is going back right now. I'm calling, bloop, 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 and I called and I had him picked up. Violated his parole. I'm not a parole officer, but I called and I told him to violate him. Why? Because it was stupid. There was no reason. And that's the reason why there's so many individuals that are out there that are completely property, as you put it, of the state because they keep doing stupid shit. But if you play the game like Leah said, and like I did, I played their game. I'm not a stereotype. I'm not a number to them. I'll be damned if they turn around and tell me I'm a number. You look my system, you look me up in the system, you'll probably find me, but ain't nothing there. Why? Because I made sure I found every single way that the law that was put into play worked for me and not against me. Hence the reason why I said to you a moment ago, look into the policies of the state that you're in. As a felon, because they consider me a felon because of my charge, I still voted. I still got the right to bear arms. So as I say, look into it because it doesn't make sense.
And that was the point.
Also, I did so well that I'm going to petition to get my stuff expunged.
That was the part that I was saying about the Second Amendment as it relates to Jay. No, that's what I mean by the courts don't have the right to tell you what you can and cannot do. They're overstepping their authority to tell you what they don't have that right because the Second Amendment is the ultimate law in the United States of America. So if a local state or a local county write a law that violates your right to keep and bear arms, or violate your right to vote, the Supreme Court is supposed to come in and strike it down. They're supposed to make sure that these things don't happen. But if we don't, and we're ignorant to it, when I meant by as far as being a slave, I wasn't saying you are actual slave. My point is they're controlling how you function in your life when you're in prison. You get what I'm saying? That was the point that I made where they're controlling how you function in your life in prison. They tell you when you go to sleep. Now, here's the thing. I don't know 100% because I ain't trying to go to jail. There's no way for me. I ain't never been in jail. I ain't never going to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. I ain't trying to go to jail. Every time I see any slight sign of me possibly ending up in jail, I went the other opposite way. I protect my freedom personally because in my mind, my freedom is the most valuable thing I have. And I've tried to make sure I don't compromise my freedom because I enjoy it. You know how to
give me a moment to rectify this because I always love an ignorant question. I do. And an ignorant question is based off of something that someone doesn't know. Okay. So
I think he said he wasn't a parole officer.
Well, he's a parole officer. What you fail to understand is this: when you're an entrepreneur, a business person, you make a way to make sure that you protect those that don't know what's going on. The same way an intern at a law office can actually give the information to a client. Okay. It doesn't have nothing to do with a parole officer. It has nothing to do with a probation officer. It's the fact that I have the information that the other person needs in order to become. In layman's terms, Leah, you might be able to justify this one. If you heard it on TV, you probably know about this. They call them jail lawyers. The ones that have the information the most are the ones that actually were part of the system. So if you don't understand what's going on, this is called teaching those that are part of the system how to get out of the system because you have the knowledge. So It's not about being a parole officer. It's about having the knowledge. And if you're offended by it,
I think maybe
you have the right to be that way.
I think he misheard you, possibly. Rick's good people. I don't think he's trying to be a smartass. When you said, I'm not saying I was a parole officer, you got a little choppy during that sentence. And so I'm thinking that maybe he thought you said you were a parole officer.
I didn't hear him say he was. I didn't hear him say that he was a parole officer. I heard him say that, he was basically exercising like being like a parole officer to help other people. Now,
when he was talking about calling for his friend, there was a sentence.
I called his parole officer.
Right.
I'm not the parole officer, but I called his parole officer.
That's what he said, but it was kind of choppy. See? So I'm thinking maybe
my face and my name protecting you. So I'm gonna call your parole officer because you want to be disrespectful.
But you know what, Jay?
Like I said, Rick, good people. He misheard.
On the other note,
I'm not saying he's not good people. I just wanted to refer to that question and just get clarity behind it. Because sometimes I know I get very adamant and I get very, very boisterous, and my voice does actually chop up things. I just want everybody who's watching and listening, when I say, and I mean this with all sincerity, when I say I understand, it's because I've walked those shoes. Right. I'm not going to talk about something that I don't know. Okay. Right. And if I know about it and I know it can actually physically work, I'm going to step up to it. Like I said before, I sat down with 3 New York City police commissioners and asked why certain things were happening. Okay. I sat down with the commissioner of the correctional facility and asked them why they were going through what they went through in the correctional facility in New York. Okay. And the reason why I sat there is because I know that there are a lot of individuals, regardless of race, creed, color, or gender, they're being mistreated because of the system. So it's best that a person that knows the system, that outsmarted the system or played the system's game, teach the others. Because one thing I don't understand, and anybody who knows about the jail system, Leah, maybe you could attest to this, they took the law books out of the libraries. You don't take a law book out of a library. A law book is for you to defend yourself when your public defender can't defend you. You don't have the funding to get an attorney. So you got to learn what's actually right. And if you read, you actually get it. So why take the book out that's going to protect you? Why take the books that are teaching you something about your own protection taken away from you? Because they don't want you to become better. They want you to be a number. Exactly. So now I'm here. I sat there. I listened. I watched. I read. And I turned around. I said, now I'm going to be a defendant to all those individuals, male, females, whatever. That's it.
Outlaw, he's a U.S. Marshal. What's up, Outlaw? How you doing? God bless you, brother.
But I've got babies about ready for naps. Let me just say. So I'm gonna have to get off this.
Yes, you well over your time. And I know we went left. We went left with the topic. I apologize. Okay.
It's been a great conversation.
Ron just went and I just followed.
We're here. It's all right. It's been a great conversation. I'm so sorry I was late. But
we understand it's our first one. We understand it's the first one.
Better late than never.
Now maybe you know what to do. Like I don't know what to do. And maybe when we do the next one, it'll be a lot more smoother. That's all.
Yeah. Now that I know it's just like bam, log on, super easy.
Right.
All about it.
I had the same problem the first time, so I can't say nothing.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I can say is that we agreed that the DEI has a lot of issues, and us 3 are going to start a coup and fixing the ideas behind it. Because even as they dismantled a lot of it, there's still a lot of people out there believing that it's still effective. And the 3 of us are going to give them information that's going to have them understand what it's really all about.
I'm ready.
And if you listen to, and if you guys come in that are all on this live on everybody's channel, number one, please hit the like button. please hit the subscribe button to everybody's channel. If y'all please do that. And understand this is that if you come back in, if you guys come back in, believe me when I tell you, if we not only are we going to tell you about how bad DEI programs are, but we also going to give our perspective on how you can overcome, because there's a whole lot of experience here. If you listen to what's going on, and if everybody keep themselves, get out of your feelings. Okay, don't be mad and upset. We're here to grow together.
Yeah, we're all look. I don't hold anything against anybody.
Right. So no, not you, Jay. I'm just saying in general. We all here to grow together, and we need these type of we need these type of dialogues in order for us to, number one, get rid of all of the racist stigmas that we keep dealing with. You get what I'm saying? The other thing is that we give us a chance to give other people's perspective. You know what I'm saying? And that way we can grow as a people. We're all in this together. All of us are in this together. You know what I mean? So if you on this live, please follow Leah's page. Please follow Jay's page. Please follow my page. Come in with an open, objective mindset that we're not going to be right about everything.
What about you, Rick?
We're not going to be perfect about everything.
This
but
is also
we
true.
allow ourselves to obtain the information, and we allow ourselves to disagree sometimes so that we can come up with a better idea of what's going on in this world. We need this. All of us know that we need this. This is what we need. And the more we do things like this, the more we can diminish racism, the more we can make racism the smaller factor and make it to the point where it's no longer a factor.
And we can come up with solutions for the people.
All three of us on this live right now, and I guarantee that a lot of people that are in the chat and stuff like that has overcome something in life and have a great story that will help everybody across the board. Because at the end of the day, you guys are being open and minded about your experiences in life. And I guarantee if someone else is going through something, they're probably looking at it and say, well, if they can overcome it and they still here and they still press forward and they're still trying to live a better life, I may be also. And
we're definitely doing that, because if each one of us in this panel right now have our businesses, and producing more businesses, and some of us are fighting for our amendments and our rights and our constitutional rights, and we're all having rough backgrounds, good, clean, otherwise. But at the end of the day, it's our experiences that's going to help everybody else.
Hey Jay, before we get off, can you click some of these comments? I just wanted people to get an idea of what is in the comments. Ricky O'Shea and Davison, Joyce, some of the stuff, just so people can kind of read what they're saying in the chat.
Oh, definitely.
We're definitely going to do it again. Outlaw, my brother.
Sorry, I was trying to do that.
Yeah, Jay's the only one that can do it. It wouldn't let me do it.
Did I do it? Did I put it in there? Oh, Donald. Thanks, you guys. Donald, come back to the next slide. Go ahead and put your little comments in. Make sure you flag that like or the dislike. It's all engagement, buddy.
Donald's the DEI
chat. I know you're not, Rick. I know you're not. I don't take anything personal by anybody. I honestly don't. Because at the end of the day, I believe like this: you have the right to say what you want to say, or how you want to say it.
Family now.
It's all good, because at the end of the day, like, most of the time anybody hears me, I always say somebody makes sense to me. DM me, find a way to find me and tell me I'm wrong. That's all I say. Tell me I'm wrong.
That's the whole solution to disagreements, right? Is more conversation, not less conversation. We gotta talk. We gotta try and get to like the root of things.
And we have fun doing it, and we enjoy doing it, and we having fun. We what I mean. We don't know ain't no right here. Ain't no races right here. We having fun and we enjoy it. And my thing is this: is the more we can do stuff like this, the farther our Grant family can grow. and the more impact we can have on the world, and we can all do it right here. So my advice to y'all might want to show up every Sunday at 12 o'clock, and it's going to be different subjects. All of us might be here. Some of us might be here. Whatever it is.
But yes, I look forward. It should be so great. I hear these kids running around. Daddy's probably like, "Get out here, lady."
No worries, Leah. As I said before, you guys let me know. I'll jump. You guys can do the same thing I'm doing. All you gotta do is send me the link, and I'll come into you guys, and you guys can control everything that's going on.
You are doing a great job. I'm not great at it. You were doing wonderful, sir. I put your and Ron's ats in here. I think I did it right. I did it in the chat right here. So
yeah,
I
appreciate it, you guys. I really do.
No, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I know it was lengthy. I appreciate you guys coming in, and this is how this is what it happens to be when we have such a diverse panel. Because when you have a diverse panel, it's so much information that you want to get out there and share, so people can actually understand what our plights are as we try to enlighten and empower everybody else. That's what I believe is happening. And when we stick to a topic, it always goes left, especially if someone else has a comment, and we got to flow off of the comment and flow with them as well. Because without the people, we ain't nobody.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the both of you as well. I'm going to get off here. I know.
All right, Leah, you have a good day. Have a blessed time. We're probably going to be shutting down too, but go take care of your family, Leah.
Go take care of your family. That's right. We catch you on the next one. Let me know when you want to do it, and that's it.
All right, we'll do next week. All right.
Ladies.
My brother. I enjoyed myself, man.
I did too, Ron. I mean, again, just to reiterate, anybody who's catching in, I don't take offense to anybody's opinion or verbiage. I really don't. I know on my end, I can get very boisterous about things, and it gets kind of crackly. Yet it's like I want to let everybody know that we are aware of what they're saying and they're asking. It's only fair, especially if they have a statement or a question or something they want to share with us. It's always a great thing because we don't know exactly what's going on. And the more that we get information, the more forums that we create and have, we can go back to those questions and give them, as you said, solutions to what's being presented.
Right. And at the end of the day, Jay, we as a people and I love these moments. Personally, I love these moments. It helps us to grow as a people, and hopefully next week we can do this again at 12 o'clock. We'll figure out down the road, but if we can do this on the 12 o'clock, if we for all intents and purposes, this is what we need. I honestly think this is what we need. This is what we need. In order for us to understand each other from different cultures, different backgrounds, different this, different that. You got experiences I don't have. I got experiences you don't have. But look at what we accomplished conversational wise. That
right.
That because I got a lot out of it. You know what I mean? Personally, I got a lot out of it. Just on that. I never been to jail. I never been to prison. So
right.
But I sympathize with people who paid their debt to society and still be met with that hardship of trying to put their life back together. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that some of that part of it is like, okay, how do you overcome all of this? Because it's hard. How do you overcome that? And because it's hard. I mean, even if you don't have one, it's hard enough. Just trying to live this life every day.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And that's why I became an advocate for 2.5 years. I became an advocate for those that were incarcerated and trying to get out, and or those trying to not do the maximum time, and or not to be taken advantage of while they're inside as well. Because a lot of times when they did not know what was going on and how to protect themselves, they get abused. I mean, it's just like a bully in school. You know, the kid doesn't know how to protect him or herself, and they get bullied. You know,
Right.
Nobody understands that they're being bullied. So what do? They lash out on the only way they know, and it's fight or flight. So before they get into a fight, I prefer to show them how to fight. This way they can fight, get away, and start afresh and come back in a different format.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that so many people look at it differently. You know,
Yeah,
and even now, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like I said, whenever as it relates to that, man, I just feel like, you know, now there's some people that I feel like never should get out of prison, and I'm not when I talk
I
about
totally agree.
out of jail, yeah, so it's out of prison. I'm not referring to those. I'm talking about people that, you know, I know that the system will try to make somebody into something that they might not be. They will make you into a felon. They will add charges that they should not add charges in. I heard horror stories after horror stories, and they will make somebody who may have did some petty crime at some point, make it so hard and extremely complicated for them that it ends up being a vicious cycle for that person. Because, like they said, they don't have that information that you had, or a way to get out of it. Understand that there is a path out of it.
Right.
But you know, it is what it is. I mean, but hopefully we like the next time we do the live, we can stick to this time around on Sundays at this time.